Warriors, welcome, and welcome to this very powerful and important video on mental fatigue. Now, if you look around the anxiety world, we notice that we talk about anxiety symptoms, we talk about physical depletion, we talk about emotional distress, but rarely do we ever talk about and heal our mental fatigue. Now, a lot of people are wondering, okay, Dennis, what is mental fatigue? What does it feel like? Well, to give you an example of what mental fatigue is like, I have to go back to my own anxiety disorder days. As I would go through the day, it was almost like a tug of war, right? Pessimistic thoughts, catastrophic thoughts, negative thoughts, self-doubting thoughts, tugging with optimistic thoughts, thoughts of clarity, thoughts that are more positive and pleasant. And I realized that, oh my goodness, how difficult it became for me to put together simple sentences in my mind. I couldn't think clearly. Heck, I couldn't even think. My whole existence, just a number of years back, suffering from an anxiety disorder, was basically run by my instincts. I would feel something, and then I would react and think accordingly to what I was feeling instinctually. Now, warriors, you may be wondering, how the heck did I get to a place of so much mental fatigue that there's no chance for me to even think straight? God, help me put a few sentences together, is what you're thinking in your mind. Well, the first way we get to this place of mental fatigue is emotional exhaustion. Emotional exhaustion. People today live so emotionally, and they're very excitable, but they're also very fearful. And so we go about our lives thinking that there is no middle ground. We tend to associate the middle ground between excitement and threat or fear with it being boring or empty. But warrior, let me fill you in on something. That neutral place is a very peaceful place. And many times emptiness can be the very thing that we need to rejuvenate our nervous systems. So emotional exhaustion, constantly being emotional about everything, getting caught up in everything, looking for the next reality show, looking for the next way we can suffer in some way, looking for that dramatic relationship. All of these things contribute to mental fatigue. And it's our job to focus on the middle ground and to create new associations, new pairings to being neutral. Another way we get to mental fatigue is simply overthinking. It's almost like we go about our lives thinking that we have to think about everything. Warrior, you don't have to think about everything. In fact, your happiest days when you were a young child, curious, excited, fun, connected, were the days where you didn't give things any thought. Our goal in terms of healing anxiety is to move away from a place of constant intellect and constant overthinking to becoming more intuitive, spontaneous, and listening to the language of our hearts. When we can follow our hearts again, when we can build more trust again, when we can have more faith in life and have more faith in our bodies to heal itself, then a magical thing starts to happen. We no longer overthink. And when we no longer overthink, we no longer experience mental fatigue. It's almost like you have a new brain. oh my God, I have a new brain. I can think again. My thoughts are clear again. It's a beautiful thing. Another reason why you may be experiencing mental fatigue is because of perfectionism. I have to do everything perfectly or I won't give anything a try. Does that sound like you? Perfectionism can be the idea that you implement something, some kind of self-care towards yourself, and you don't get the results that you want right away. What starts to happen? That thing didn't work for me. Or, you talk yourself out of continuing the self-care. So perfectionism can lead to mental fatigue as well. So if you have these habits, you have these present traits, it's very important that we understand what we need to do starting today to heal the mental fatigue, to get to a place where our intuition is leading our lives. Get to a place where the intellect, the thoughts that we think, are very much balanced, and we can see beyond our instincts. Because with anxiety, what tends to run the show are the instincts. We have an instinctual response to a situation or something in our imagination, and all of a sudden we're caught up in the cycle. Let me tell you something, warrior. Feeling a moment of anxiousness, feeling a moment of fear, feeling a moment of sadness, feeling a moment of guilt, blame, unforgiveness is not the problem. The problem is that we're getting caught up after that initial moment. That's the problem. So you can stop beating yourself up for experiencing something we recall as being negative, and you can start seeing these moments as just that, a moment. Now, what can we do? The first thing we need to do in terms of healing mental fatigue is see where you are overworking. When I mean overworking, I mean too stimulated, overthinking. We need to get to a place where we invest or reinvest our energies wisely. Because with the money that you have, you wouldn't go around giving money out to everybody and everything, buying everything. No, you wouldn't do that. You're smart. You're intelligent. You'd go, oh, this is a wise choice here to put my money into. The same goes for your energy. So we need to look at where we're overworking, which people are draining our energies, what TV shows are draining our energies, what social media platforms am I spending way too much time in that's draining my energies. The next thing we need to do is simplify our lives. Life is very simple, but human beings have found a way to make it very complicated. So we need to simplify our lives. There's nothing wrong with doing similar things each and every day for yourself, if in fact those things are good for you. So if you feel like things are getting a little too complicated, you feel this clutter in your house, in your workplace, with other people, then the idea now is to simplify your life. Look at your life right now and notice areas where you can simplify things. The next thing we need to do is recognize that we need to live our lives with less drama and more peace. No more Kardashian reality shows. No more going to the local pub and discussing how difficult your day was. No more getting into friendships and serious relationships with people that only fill your life with more drama. Let's leave the drama out of our lives. And even though we may feel like we're missing out on something or missing out on some kind of excitement in our lives, inner peace will begin showing up, and with that inner peace comes optimal health. Optimal health is exactly why you're watching this video right now. So, understand that we need to make some sacrifices. Anything that makes you feel too excitable, too dramatic in your life, must be sacrificed with something new. And the final thing we need to do is we need to look to control less things in our lives and practice trust. We don't need to have control over everything in our own lives, everything in our spouses' lives, our friends' lives, our kids' lives. We don't need to control everything. We can give up a few things. We can build trust in things. We can have faith that things are going to work out on their own. Warrior, please take these suggestions today so that we can heal the mental fatigue that comes with your anxiety. I promise you, you implement these for a long enough period consistently, you will begin finding that you're in a transition to a new you. Now the question is when you're in that transition, will it scare you? Will it make you too uncomfortable? Will you talk yourself out of the new authentic you? Or will you embrace these changes? Will you embrace the world of the unknown? Will you allow yourself to just be? Because it's in that world where you're just being where the miracles start showing up. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Have a wonderful day because you deserve it. And remember that you are more than anxiety. If you have any questions on any of my programs, head on over to this website right here.